Welcome into Emerald and Lilywhite. This is episode 50. We are fully in transfer season. Thomas Frank has officially been established as the manager, which we talked about last week. And that bridges into the conversation and into what comes next. And there's a lot to talk about. With me, as always, my co-host Max at Going Limbs. Max, what's up, man?
What's up? I can't believe it's episode 50.
Crazy.
Crazy. I'm gonna check like our YouTube right now because I don't know exactly the date that we first
we're finding the right space.
uploaded
Our first ever episode, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It was July 6th. So we're not quite there. We're not quite to our
Coming up on a year, though.
But yeah, it was transfer window preview. We started on July 6th because I guess Spurs don't do business at all before then, because like the fact that we started it that late last year and I don't think anything had happened, and then this year nothing's happened, and it's it's pretty far off from July 6th. Yeah, hopefully we can get some signings in, but yeah, episode 50 is hype. Almost a 1-year anniversary. We've been pretty consistent, dude. That's like one episode a week. 50,
Let's go.
50
no
by July 6th. If we can get 2 more in, that's pretty hype. So yeah, let's go.
I think we can do that. I think we can make it an average of 1 episode a week, which, yeah, pretty solid. And I remember early, I think there was a friendly that we watched live, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, the Bayern friendly.
Friendly we watched live. Yeah, good times. But yeah, a year later, things look different. Thomas Frank, we know, has been officially announced as Spurs manager. He officially joins the team this week at Hotspur Way to begin his tenure. Saw cool videos of him meeting up with Matters, him meeting up with Radu. Yeah, anything you want to talk about with regards to Frank officially getting to Hotspur Way?
I don't know. I don't have the tweet in front of me, but I'm going to try and remember this off the top of my head, because when they interviewed him, he mentioned like specific players.
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned like senior players. He mentioned, I think it was Madison, Solanke, and Bentancur actually were like the 3 seniors he mentioned. And then for the youngsters, he was like huge potential, Bergvall, Gray. I think he said Udogi, and I think he said Odebear.
Yeah.
So he named like 7 players in his first press conference that he was excited to work with. So I think that's definitely something to note. Like, those players seem to already have caught his eye a bit. So I think it's important that he said Odebear, someone who's like kind of been in and out of the team. Like Frank likes him. Bentancur, he's gonna get that extension. I basically book that right now.
Oh, for sure.
Bentancur extension coming. Madison, I mean, he does play with like a true number 10 type, so I feel like Matters perfectly. And then Solanke, and then obviously Bergvall. We who isn't a fan of Bergvall, and we knew he was a fan of Archie Gray beforehand as well. And Destiny Udogi, I think, fits the system perfectly, like kind of the hybrid attacking and defensive fullback. So yeah, it was interesting to see that. Definitely giving like a different vibe to Ange when he's entering like Hotspur Way and stuff. But like I said on the last podcast, he just fits, like, it just seems right. Like his like more calm, collected vibe, and his quotes were great. He says not taking a risk is taking a risk. So expecting to take some risks. And yeah, I'm really excited for this summer to see what players he starts to enjoy. That was always my favorite part of like Ange coming in, like the Jed Spence thing. Like, there's players that are going to emerge that were out of favor before, because at the end of the day, it is all preference. All these guys are really good at football. So yeah, it'd be fun. Should be a fun summer. I'm excited. But yeah, like we mentioned before, it's all about the signing. So I think that's mostly what we're going to be talking about on this episode.
No doubt about it. But yeah, before we get into the signings, I think, Frank's not going to have the pressure of breaking the trophy hoodoo at Spurs, which it's It's so funny to talk about that because, yes, it's been since 2008. There's clubs that haven't won trophies in like 60 years, 80 years, 100 years, right? There's like real droughts, right? But Tottenham has expectations. It was a long time coming. Ange got it done, so credit to Ange, but Frank's going to walk in with less pressure. I also think, and this is no disrespect to Postecoglou, but I just think Frank is a more well-rounded football manager. And this is not something that I think it's important to point out, you and I both, this is not coming from a place of, oh, Frank's the manager now, let's start talking him up because he's the manager of Spurs. I think you and I have questioned Postecoglou from the majority of the season, right? And not in a way that's like, irredeemable or anything, but just maybe questioning his flexibility, etc. And I think Frank is a very flexible manager who, like you said, is very calm. And he has Premier League experience, and he's done a lot in the Premier League. He's not won the Premier League, right? But we talked about it on the last show. His wage ranking, or Brentford's wage ranking, is typically somewhere between 18th and 20th, and they're consistently finishing 9th, 13th. They did finish, I think, 15th this year, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe 13th or 14th. I'd have to double check on that actually, but I think it was 15. So not a great year last year, but he gets more out of the team than he's supposed to, and I think it's a good manager for Spurs. So yeah, let's talk transfers though. Quickly, the arrivals. We don't need to talk too much about these, or maybe there are a few talking points here, but we all know Tell is signed permanently. I think that's probably the biggest talking point here. Danzo is signed permanently. I think that was kind of a foregone conclusion where Tell was a little bit more up in the air. Vuskovic does join. I'll say that again.
Danzo was obligation. So.
Obligation, yeah. So that was coming. Vuskovic does join. That didn't happen just now, right? But he officially joins the club as an 18-year-old now. Super exciting. Brian Heel returns from end of loan. Solomon returns from Leeds from the end of his loan. Devine returns end of loan. Yang returns end of loan. Phillips returns on the end of his loan. And then Alejo Veliz also returns at the end of his loan. Those are officially arrivals. So we do highlight them, right? I think those are all things that we knew would happen. But I think maybe Tell and Vuskovic are probably the two we really want to dive into here. But let's talk about Tell first, man. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I'm hyped. I'm glad we could lock him down. I think it's until like 2031 was the contract.
Mm-hmm.
I got, I think, a little bit less for him. So it was like 35 mil.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great price. I think the initial option to buy was 55, so we got it down like 20, but we also pay like 10 million for the loan fee, so around like 45 mil. I think that's a huge get for this window, like starting off with a winger. I think we definitely need to add more across the front three, at least one or two more depending on outgoings, but it's definitely a good start that we got that done quickly. I think he'll be really good under Frank, who's kind of, like we talked about last podcast, fluid front three, and he is the textbook guy that can play all three of those positions. So absolutely buzzing about Tell. I mean, he's still only 20 years old, so doesn't get much better for that price, that age, with the experience that he already has, winning a trophy here as well. And I think he might be the one that goes off under Frank, like has a real breakout season this year. So I'm super excited about that.
You think he's gonna play as a winger or a 9?
I have no idea, to be honest. I think he'll start on the wing. I think it depends on Son. If Son is here, then he might shift more to the 9. If Son is not, then he might be the winger there, because I think Son, Johnson, Tell are 3 guys that would benefit a lot from being in the Thomas Frank system, as more of like inside forwards rather than wingers. So it's going to be really exciting for all those guys. And I think like we should keep Sonny. Like I think he's still got it. So either way, it should be interesting to see. Like I think Tell will probably be one of our best wing. Like I right now, if I had to guess, I think he would be our best winger next season.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I still want to keep Sonny. I think Tell and Sonny are going to be like pretty similar level next year, even with Sonny aging. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the nice part about all this winger conversation is our wingers are going to invert much more so than our fullbacks are going to, and that just benefits us. We'll leave it at that, right? I don't think we need to get into the end of it all, but yeah, I think Tell is going to be much better as an inverted wing. Son, 1,000% better as an inverted wing. Brennan Johnson maybe on the left side. I don't know.
I think left side. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
I think so too.
It's clear that we need a right wing. Like that's because all these guys are left. I think Odebear will be seen maybe even more as a 10. I think or Odebear, like one of those guys is going to be a 10. They're not going to be.
Well, and I think one thing we're not thinking about, sorry to cut you off, is I do think Kulisevsky is going to be deployed as a right wing in this system. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's number one on the depth chart at the right wing position at this point in time.
Yeah, I think we still both like another right winger though.
Oh, 100%. No question about it. And we're going to talk about that. There's some interesting links. Yeah, and then the other one, Vuskovic, that one's super exciting. We've talked about him a lot. He's been on loan at Westerlo this season and the previous year. I know he was back in Croatia, I believe it, at Hajduk Split, if I'm not mistaken, on loan. That was the club that we bought him from, loaned him right back. We needed him to turn 18 to come to Spurs, essentially, was the deal, right? So he's now going to be joining Spurs permanently this summer, 18 years old. So I don't think we can expect him to make a massive impact on the squad, but I think he's going to be in the squad. I don't think we're looking to like loan him out. I think he's being brought in to compete for minutes.
I mean, what is a loan going to do for him at this?
He's too good.
Like he dominated the Belgian league at 8. Like he scored 7 goals. He was playing center back.
Yeah.
It was like his stats. If you go on his Football Reference, it's all green. Like it's all 99th percentile for center backs, and he's 18. I don't think he really has many peers like at his age group in the world. To be honest, it might be like Kubarsi and him.
Yeah, I agree.
Like he's a really, really crazy talent. So I think definitely going to be in the squad. I love that we're adding that younger center back depth because like we don't know what's happening with Romero right now, right? It's like it's kind of seeming like he's going to stay.
I think so.
I think that's what it seems like at this current moment. So if you got Van de Ven, Romero, and then Danzo, and then Vuskovic, and then potentially Dragusin, who is supposed to be better under Thomas Frank, coming back probably in like December, you might need another center back like that's left-footed, or maybe someone who can cover both. But you do have Ben Davies, who we probably won't see much of, but you never know. I think Vuskovic is going to help the team this year for sure. It's really exciting. He's a massive player to get and super young and a great talent.
Yeah, I mean, I think has a higher ceiling than Mikey Moore, to be honest. And that's not to take anything away from Mikey Moore, but I think just to give context to the listener, as much as Mikey Moore is hyped up as a real talent, I think Vuskovic is even better. So at his respective position, of course, right? Yeah. But yeah, I'm hyped. And it's interesting. Like you said, I think Romero's going to stay. We're going to talk about Romero here in a little bit, so we'll save most of it. But Romero, Van de Ven, Dragusin, Danzo are kind of the 4 senior center backs that we recognize at this point in time. And then Ben Davies, I don't understand. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying I don't fully understand what the decision was, whether it's center back, whether it's left back coverage, whether it's just having somebody who's been at the club for over a decade around and wants to go into coaching, and maybe there's something to the idea that we don't want him to leave Spurs at this point in time, or maybe even have had conversations about him retiring at Spurs and joining the staff, right? So there could be more depth to that contract extension. We're speculating, we don't know, but all that to say, Vuskovic, again, I think will be competing for minutes. I don't think he's going to get a ton, But at 18 years old, training with Romero and Van de Ven, as talented as he is where he needs to be. And he'll probably get some minutes for the U21s. Why not, right? Just get him some football. But there's also every reason to think that he impresses enough to start some matches, League Cup matches, and whatnot. So, yeah, we'll see. Everybody else we know is returning from loan. Brian Heel, Solomon, Devine, Yang, Phillips, Valise. Any of those guys strike you as guys who are going to make an impact next season or not?
Brian Hill, I think it's over.
Yeah.
It's probably been over for like 2 years, but
Yeah.
I know I'm hanging on to. He's just such a good dribbler, dude. Like
he's
one of the best dribblers in Europe.
Yeah.
But knee injury this past year. It's over. For Brian Hill, Solomon, try and get as much as you can for him from Leeds because they love him at Leeds. So have at it. I think I've seen reports that he wants to prove himself here.
Yeah.
So,
I've seen some stuff too that Thomas Frank may be interested in giving him an opportunity to be part of the squad. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Not a fan. So I'd sell him, but Alfie's fine. I mean, give him a shot. Like I don't know. It might have to be another loan for him. But I don't know. The clock is also ticking a little bit, so it's been a fair bit of loans. I don't think he had like a bad loan in Belgium by any means.
Yeah,
actually with Vuskovic. And I thought he's looked good in preseason. So we'll see. Yang, it's a loan this year for sure. Get him another loan. He didn't impress too much at QPR, but I think he needs more experience. Ashley Phillips, dude, he's been really good on loan, but I don't know if he's gonna be good enough to play for Tottenham. Unfortunately, I mean I'm a fan of his, but I don't know if he's the profile we need right now. So it might be time to cash in. Yeah, if Stoke want him permanently, if any promoted side wants like a young center back that could be really good, he's the guy. I just don't think he has the prowess on the ball to like work in like a ball dominant team.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Alejo Valise is horrible. One of the worst players we've ever signed. So
yeah, I think with him, we just kind of took a punt on a young South American just to see what would happen, and we punted the ball out of bounds. So yeah. And then it's interesting. Will Langshire, I believe, is returning from loan, but Transfer Market does not list him as a loan returnee. So maybe the loan just hasn't expired yet, but we do expect him back.
I think because like he was like a part of the Europa League like winner.
Oh, you're right.
Like,
back already.
His loan and then came to like the Europa League final and stuff. So
you're right. As far as departures go, Højbjerg departs to OM. That's an obligation. That's Olympique Marseille on an obligation. Then Region, Fraser Forster, Alfie Whiteman leave on freeze, which I think is great for all three of them. They just need to find a new home. I'm glad that we allowed that to happen. And then Timo Werner's loan expires and he heads back to
Leipzig.
Thank you. Red Bull Leipzig. So, yeah, we don't want to talk about Werner. We've talked about him plenty, and we don't need to do him any more of a disservice. So we wish you the best, Timo. I'm not even joking when I say that. No sarcasm. We always wish anyone who's worn the badge the best, and we'll see what happens for Timo. But sounds like a move to MLS could be on the cards, and I actually think that'd be pretty fucking cool. I think it'd be a good home for him. And yeah, I mean, he'll probably end up at Red Bull New York is what's going to happen for obvious reasons. But, yeah, we'll see. All right. We're going to save links for last because that's always the most fun thing to talk about here. But there are some rumors on the outgoing front. We've kind of touched on some of them. Romero, Atletico Madrid, it just continues to really just –
Simeone's been calling him every day.
Yeah. They're embarrassing themselves with the bids they're putting in. They're embarrassing themselves from the perspective of what you just said. They're calling our player. I think what's happening with Romero – oh, sorry. What'd you say?
I'm just saying, like, dude, pack it up. Like, why are you calling Romero, bro? You've got Albert Rusnak scoring goals on you in the Club World Cup. Like, let's get serious.
A little Seattle love. Yeah, I think this is what's happening with Romero. We're positioning ourselves to either keep him or sell him for a large fee.
To be over 70 mil. Like,
exactly. I agree. I'm thinking
30. Like, what are we doing here, man?
Yeah. I would feel comfortable selling him for 80 or more. That would make me feel like it was the right decision. But
80.
Yeah. I kind of love this because I think this is what a big club does. Like, you're not leaving unless we get the actual fee we want, which Spurs do often take that route. So this isn't new for Spurs, but at the same time, I think we're saying stay for another year and then leave on a free, whatever. We want to win trophies. We don't do that by worrying about what happens a year from now. We do that by having the best players in the world at the club. We have that. So $80 million or fuck off, you're at Spurs next season. End of the story, right? So I like the way we're operating here. Then Mikey Moore, there's rumors that Juventus is interested in Mikey Moore. I believe it, first of all. Juventus is like just absolutely focused on revamping with youth and just kind of hitting the reset button hard. I mean, they've got Kenan Yildiz, who's just a little bit older than Mikey Moore, who's an absolute baller. And I think if you pair Mikey Moore with him, it'd be a really bright future for them. The only thing that's interesting about this to me, and I'll let you talk about it too, but Serie A, and I watch, for those who don't know, I watch Spurs and then I watch Serie A, right? I don't really watch any Premier League outside of Spurs. I don't know what that says about me as someone who does Spurs podcasts, but it's the truth, right? And I watch a ton of Serie A. Serie A is atrocious when it comes to developing youth. Like, you do not go to Italy if you want to enhance your career as a young player. And that can change for sure. It has been different in the past, but I just think going to Juventus would be a poor move on his part. I just don't think it's the right move. There's times where I wonder if Spurs is going to be the right move for him because I don't see him getting enough minutes, and I think he's worthy of them. And you and I have talked about that. The other interesting link, and I'm not trying to sell Mikey Moore here, but the other interesting link is Dortmund. And if I'm Mikey Moore and I'm unbiased, I'd be like, bro, you fucking go to Dortmund and watch your career take off, man. Like, no doubt about it. So anyways, I'm not trying to bring that up so we can focus on the Dortmund links necessarily, but Mikey Moore, would it be as gutting for you as it would be for me if we were to move him on?
Yes, man. Like, what?
Yeah.
Why would we ever do that? Like, he's the one guy from the academy that, like, we've kind of touted like this, like, forever now. Like, since this dude was 14, like, we've been following him since this dude was 14. He's been cooking. Like, we have to. I mean, he's played well for England in the U19 Euros. Picked up a bit of a knock there, but I think he's fine now. It would just be so dumb to, like, because we have Brennan Johnson. Like, we can't have Mikey Moore also. Like, give me a break, man. Give me a break. Like, he's almost going to be 18 next year. Like, how old is Yamal? Like, we can find minutes for this guy to, like, actually prove himself.
100%, man.
It's going to be a big preseason for him for sure. So hopefully Frank takes a liking there.
Yep. I mean, we either need to play him or move him on. Like, I don't see why we would continue to just. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I think there's probably some good loan options out there for him. Like, maybe if Dortmund continues to knock, like,
if they want to get him on loan, by all means,
awesome. That'd be amazing, right? So I think maybe getting him a good loan, or getting him minutes is the best option. And if we want to move him on, it's got to be for a really good fee. But I really, really hope that does not happen. Phillips and Devine, rumors that both of them could be loaned out to Sheffield United. I think that would be a pretty solid loan for both of them. I think it's a little bit of a lateral move for Phillips from a loan perspective.
Yeah.
I think Sheffield's better than Plymouth. He was at Plymouth last year, I believe, right?
Stoke.
Oh yeah, Stoke. Sorry, I think
before.
Yeah, Plymouth before, and then he was at Stoke. But I think it could be a good move for Phillips. I think it's a great move for Devine. I mean, Sheffield
is they're not playing in the Prem, or they are?
No, they did. They lost in the championship final or the playoff final to Sunderland. But I mean, they're going to be the odds-on favorites to win
the
championship next year, and I think that could be a really good loan for both of those guys because, like you said, they're not going to play. And I think Divine has a higher ceiling than Phillips, but
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think it's right for them to be at the club. So I hope that loan takes place. The big one we're, of course, going to spend a little bit of time on then is Son Heung-min. There are rumors that he could be on his way to join Jose Mourinho at Fenerbahce. Also, rumors of him going to the Saudi Pro League. $30 million is the fee, roughly. Yeah, I'll give it over to you, man. I know you said earlier you think we should keep Son, but what do you make of all this?
I just think it's absurd, man. Like this is it's like honestly embarrassing. Like most of the fan base is like campaigning for his departure. He's still good though. Like just run down his contract and let him leave on a free, man. Like it's not like we need profit from Heung-min's Son. Like we've profited so much from him already being here and what he's done here. It's not like we need to squeeze every penny and like push him out the door. That's insane to me. It's ridiculous. Like we should keep him, I think.
The only way that I think you sell Son is if he comes to you and says, first of all, the Premier League's at a pace that's I don't believe this for a second, but that I'm slowing down up against Ray, which I don't buy into that at all. I think Son still has a lot left physically. But I think what could happen is him coming to Spurs and saying, look, I've got a chance to double my wages, which it would reports are that he would double his wages. He's at 190 at Spurs, right? So I think over 300 is what he was offered at Fenerbahce, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think the Saudi Pro League, I haven't heard anything, but I would imagine is offering him even more than that at this point in time, right? Son is, if you look at players who are in their 30s and you're the Saudi Pro League who can elevate your league, and we all know they're just super focused on elevating their league on a global level. Son may be at the top of the list of players who can elevate your league because of the stardom that he carries in his part of the world, right? So if he came to Spurs and said, I want to take this deal, I think you have to let him go. Assuming that the fee is acceptable to the club, right? But I don't think that I agree with you. I don't think you need to sell Son from a financial perspective. I also think Son had an off year they're talking about, and he did from his standards, but he was still top 3 on the team in goal contributions. He also was deployed on the fucking touchline.
Yeah.
What do you expect Son Heung-min to do from the touchline? He's one of the most lethal poachers in the game. So, again, I keep doing this, and I'm sorry, but that was poor from Ange Postecoglou, and that's not the first time I've said that.
It was wrong. It was just wrong.
It was wrong. Son is a goal scorer. He's a fox in the box, man. Like, you don't stick that dude on the touchline. So, anyways,
go ahead. Andrew, when he was playing 9 when Richarlison was injured. That's true.
Yep. Yeah. So, the guy had just won the Golden Boot 2 years prior to that, right? So, anyways, it's I really hope we keep Son. I think there's very much a world where he plays a big impact, and he's currently the captain of the team and just lifted our first trophy in 17 years and our first European trophy in over 40 years. So long may Son Heung-min continue to be a Spurs.
All right, before we get into the links, let's just do rapid fire. Keep, sell, loan.
Yeah.
Vicario.
Wait, said who?
Vicario.
Oh, Vicario. Sell.
Yeah.
If the bid's right. If the bid's right.
Danso.
Keep.
Dragusin.
Sell.
Agree. Sonny, we just talked about. Keep. Basuma.
Sell. Super fast.
Richarlison.
Keep.
I think keep too. Madison.
Keep.
Tell kept. Udogi. Keep. Gray, Bergvall. Keep. Romero. Keep. Yang. Loan. Solanke.
Keep.
Kulu.
Keep.
Sell.
Yeah, okay. I'm not surprised we disagree on that.
Brennan.
Keep.
sell. I'd sell him, dude.
Yeah,
His value is so high right now, dude.
Yeah, that's fair too. That's fair. I mean, that's a really good point. Yeah, I think he needs some time under Frank to make for me to determine otherwise.
Yeah, that's fair. Poro and Spence.
I would be open to selling Poro.
I think both. I think keep both.
You do, yeah. I say I'd be open to. So that's kind of a waffling answer, right? So
I think Poro is a victim of the Ange system. Like,
yeah. The only thing that makes me think about Poro here is I think that Frank does require his fullbacks to be quite defensive at times, and I'm not sure Poro is that always, right? So, but I also wouldn't sell him right now. So I'll say keep, and then Spence keep for sure.
Solomon?
Sell.
Yeah. Odebear?
Keep.
Okay, here's where I what if we loaned him?
I'd be open to that.
Like,
I wouldn't hate it.
Egon, maybe? Like, I feel like he's not going to get, like, a lot of minutes, especially if we bring in another winger.
Good point. That's a really good point. I mean, yeah, you've convinced me. I would be open to loaning him, but I wouldn't sell him.
Yeah, I wouldn't sell him either. Sar?
Keep.
Keep. Bent?
Spence? Keep.
Bentinker?
Keep.
Kinski?
Keep.
Ben Davies? I mean, we kept him.
Kept him.
Phillips?
Loan.
I'd probably sell him. Philippe?
Yeah.
I'd sell.
Yeah, sell.
Van de Ven, keep.
Yep.
Austin, keep.
Keep. You have to.
Dane Scarlett,
Sell.
sell. Divine, loan. And then Hill.
Sell.
That's everyone. That's the whole squad as of right now.
But we're pretty flush on. We disagreed on what? Brennan.
Brennan.
Kulu. Yeah.
And maybe Odebear kind of. But
yeah. Honestly, I'm joining you on loan for Odebear, actually, to be honest. I think that's a good call. Liga 1 would be great. I think even elsewhere in the Premier League wouldn't be a horrible move for him. I could see like Newcastle being interested in a loan for him. I could see
we were missing here. Lancashire wasn't in that.
Lancashire, I'd probably sell him, man. I hate saying that, but I'd probably sell him.
I'd sell him too.
Yeah, I think you can get like 5-10 million for him, honestly.
Yeah.
Then some of those, like Poro, for example, are going to tie right into the links. We are linked to a significant right back, in my opinion. But the first thing we'll talk about is, because it was super hot for a few days, was Anton Semenyo of Bournemouth. But I just read, and this was the Sun. Granted, I got to pump that in massive asterisks. The Sun is reporting that we have completely halted talks for Antoine Semenyo. I'm not quite sure exactly why that is, but the reporting was we were all over it and then just abruptly stopped it in its tracks, our decision. So you don't know why that could be. We could speculate something medical, maybe something from a character perspective. And I'm not trying to drop some sort of news on Emerald and Lilywhite or even start a rumor that there's a character flaw. I'm just saying it could be physical. It could be a character. It could be simply financial. It could be that we've decided we don't need him. Multitude of reasons. Sorry, but would it crush you if we didn't sign Antoine Semenyo?
No. It was so we're going for a number of players, kind of. They're all similar, maybe can play out wide, can also play the number 10. And a lot of them are listed below right now, but there was a lot of talk, I think Xavi Simons and Mohamed Kudus also deserve to be on this graphic below.
Good job.
And there's kind of a debate, who do you want? If it was Semenyo and it was against all these other guys, I think I'd take Eze, I'd take Grealish, I'd take Xavi Simons, I'd take Kudus, I'd take Mbuemo, I'd take Aklioche, I'd take all these guys over Semenyo. And that's not to say that Semenyo is a bad player, but I just think we are linked to a lot of really good players right now. I think we're only going to get one of them, and Semenyo would not be my pick out of the group I just listed for sure. So, yeah.
I tend to agree with you. I mean, and we're going to talk about each of these guys individually, but there's three players on this list that I think would be a better fit off the top than Semenyo, and that's Embuemo, Eze, and Grealish for sure. And I agree with you. You know what? We're just gonna drop the edit live as we record, and we are going to add
Javi Simons and
Javi Simons and who else did you just say? Because Mohamed Kudus, thank you, to the list, and we're going to talk about them as well. So we're back. We good. Let's talk about Bryan Mbeumo. I assume both of us are screaming for this to happen at this point in time. You and I have been beating the Bryan Mbeumo train for the entirety of this show.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a massive signing. I think imagine we signed Mbeumo and we got like one of these more number 10 players.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no reason we can't get Eze and Mbeumo. They play different positions. Like as winger, but Mbeumo's a right winger. Like Eze play the number 10, he plays the left wing. Javi number 10, he plays the left wing. Kudus plays the number 10, he plays the right wing. Grealish plays the number 10, he plays the left wing. It's and Mbeumo's a pure winger. He's not like one of these number 10/winger hybrids. I don't know if maybe that makes it less likely because we're pretty much targeting like every single target we have is a number 10 and a winger. Aklioche as well. He's a number 10 who also plays left. So I would love to get Mbeumo. He's the main pure wing target that we should be going for. And then we should add one of these number 10 types alongside of him. And that would be absolutely fantastic. And we would be cooking. If Mbeumo, and he's also like perfect for Thomas Frank. Like we saw it last year, 20 goals in the Premier League. Pretty unbelievable return there. So
nuts for a winger. I mean, that's Sonny numbers, honestly. Yeah. That's like prime Sonny numbers. So
yeah, I don't know if he was taking penalties. So
no, he probably wasn't. And when Sonny had over 20 goals, he typically got significant time as a center forward because Kane was out, or Mourinho almost played in the front two, right? So I think Mbeumo is the real deal. I think he's one of the hottest names on the market right now, and we are reportedly battling Man United for his services right now.
At this point,
yeah, it's interesting because he's being offered $250K a week at United, which is more than we're going to offer him. I can tell you that right now. Bryan Mbeumo is not going to come in and become our highest earner. I don't think. Now, if he does,
if Son goes, that's a different story though, because that frees up $190K.
100%, and I think that's something that we have to talk about, or at least think about, right? But I think with this one, it's going to come down to money, and I wouldn't personally choose to not play in the Champions League for an extra $60K a week, but $60K a week's not sitting on the table in front of me, so it's maybe easier for me to say that right now, right? It's a lot of money, and when you have a family and you start to think about what the future looks like, money does talk, right? These are professional football players in the sense that it's their profession. So we'll see what happens with Mbeumo. Obviously, Spurs have the pull of his current manager, or his manager of the last couple of years, and really the one who put him on the map. Coming to Spurs, there's a great relationship there. He knows the system. So my gut says he ends up at Spurs, but we'll see.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a huge signing. And here's the thing, like if we want to kick on like we're talking about, and Levy's come out and saying, I want to win the Premier League, I want to win the Champions League. Well, you don't fucking do that by just saying I want to win the Premier League and the Champions League, right?
Well, dude, like has he come out and said something like that? Like ever?
No.
Because that's a crazy quote to say, like, because he knows better than anyone how the fan base views him.
Exactly.
And what we think about him. So for him to come out and be like, look, Ange won the Europa League. That's not good enough right now. We want to win Premier Leagues, Champions Leagues. Well, then open your pockets, because
exactly. Well, that's the thing.
That means we got to go full throttle now. We got to sign Mbeumo. We got to sign Javi Simons and another 6 that's world class, all in the same window, if we want to actually compete in these competitions.
Yep. Yeah, honestly, like he's doubled down, because if he doesn't start acting accordingly in the manner you're talking about, then he's proven that he's all talk, right? And words are just words. So we'll really see what starts to happen. And I think signing Mbeumo would be a wonderful start to to the future that we all hope for Spurs. Magnus Akliuche, I believe is the pronunciation. He's an attacking midfielder at Monaco. As you said, he can also play on the wing. I don't know a whole lot about him. I know he's young. What can you tell me about him?
Yeah, he's had a great season this past year, team of the season for Ligue 1.
Mm-hmm.
They're a great passer. I think that's the main thing. He 95th percentile key passes, 92nd percentile in assists. Comparing like per 90 for Europe's top 5 leagues. He's a decent dribbler. He's a bit better at carrying the ball than he is at taking on players. But as a number 10, as a playmaker type, he's one of the best in Europe over the past year. And he's still only 23. So that's what his season looked like last year. I'd be totally on board with this signing. I don't think he would be as expensive as a Kudus, a Jali Simons, or even an Eze. And I don't want to say that as if he's like a budget option, because he is a lot younger than all those guys, and he'd definitely be one for the future, a really interesting player. And I think if we did sign him, it would also open us up to not have broken the bank completely, where it would be possible to get him and Mbeumo and maybe another 6 and Vanderson, his teammate, per chance. So, I'm a huge fan of him. I think he's a really good passer, playmaker. That's where he's going to thrive at Spurs.
Yep. Yeah, I love it, man. I don't know a whole lot about him. I'm pulling up a couple of stats here that I think are important with squad comparison.
Is when you compare the data, it says similar data to Akliuche, 2024-25. Heung-min Son has a very similar data in terms of the passing and the dribbling comparison to him.
Interesting. Yeah, I pulled up a comparison between him and Ryan Cherky, and I thought it was an interesting comparison because they both came out of Ligue 1, and Cherky just went to Man City and is viewed as one of the hottest players in the game right now. So the stats are not super conducive to my point here, because Ryan Cherky does trump him in most categories. 10 games played to 12, that's whatever, right? 2 goals for Akliuche, 4 for Ryan Cherky, 2 assists for Akliuche, 8 for Ryan Cherky, 13 chances created, 44 for Ryan Cherky, 341 passes attempt from Akliuche, 545 from Ryan Cherky, 284 completed from Akliuche, and 458 completed from Ryan Cherky. And then long passes completed 15 and 23 respectively. So he does come a little bit shy of that, but I just thought it was an interesting comparison for someone who plays a similar brand and position in the same league. But again, Cherky is one of the hottest players on the planet right now in terms of up and coming youngsters. So kind of an unfair comparison for me to conduct there as well.
I think he's still a good signing. Yeah. I think he's a good signing. And I think more importantly, even with signing him, we wouldn't be like breaking the bank. So we still have options that we wouldn't be just tied to like him for the window, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree with you there. On the flip side, my concern is like if we're already starting to talk about secondary targets, that's just kind of the old Spurs for me, right? But at the same time, I mean, we don't know. Players out of France either bang or they don't, and
it's a strong link. I think regardless, he's a strong link, and I think that it would be not good if he was our marquee signing, but he would be a great signing to get done.
Yep.
That's the stance for sure.
No, I think it's a good shout. The next one, Giovanni Leone. I assume not many have heard of him. I really hadn't before I did some digging this afternoon. Say that again?
I looked at his stats. I'm not a fan already. I've never watched him play in my life. I pulled up his FF. I was like, why are we linked to this guy? I don't know.
Yeah, he's 18 years old. He plays for Parma. He's a center back. So I don't think it's a necessary signing. I think if you bring him in, it's because probably because Paratici has identified him as a star for the future or something, right?
Like we have Vuskovic. Why do we need this guy?
Yeah, I agree. It's probably just honestly Paratici tinkering, and we all know that anything that there's smoke to in Italy, he's going to be all over. So,
for sure.
yeah, we'll see. Vanderson's an interesting one. You kind of mentioned the name earlier. Monaco's right back. He's a Brazilian. I'm a huge fan of him. 23 years old. I think offers more of an Udogie comparison than Porro does, right? In terms of being able to get forward, but also defend quite well. So the rumor, the headline was Tottenham explore Porro replacement. I don't think that's true. I don't think Vanderson comes in to just replace Pedro Porro, but I think he comes in to compete with him. And it's also interesting that we're, reportedly exploring options at right back. It tells me that we see Spence as a left back, which I think is a promising thing.
I agree. I think if we get Vanderson, that's a fantastic, like Udogie, Vanderson, Spence, Porro. It doesn't get better than that, to be honest.
And you need two fullbacks on each side to compete in multiple competitions. Like it's probably the most demanding position in modern football, to be completely honest. So it's weird. There's less individual pressure, but it requires so much work. It's actually like a super selfless position because you probably work harder than anyone else on the pitch, but you're never going to be on not never, but you're rarely going to be on the score sheet, right? And rarely going to be in the highlight reel, but you work your ass off. So yeah, I'm a fan of Anderson.
Yeah, defensively, he would probably come in and be our best defensive fullback.
Yeah.
And then attacking wise, like he's not Pedro Porro because not many are, but he's still a serviceable attacker. And I think that he could easily get that starting role from Porro. I think if we do get that over the line, him and Porro would be fairly interchangeable. Same with Spence and Udogie. And look at Liverpool, they're going to have Frimpong and Bradley, and then Robertson and Kirkes. I mean, that's how you win. And City has so many fullbacks as well. Like this is really important to have like a strong contingent of fullbacks, and I think he would be a wonderful signing. I've also seen Kyle Walker-Peters, who I'm not a fan of too much as a footballer. I mean, shout out to him for coming through the Tottenham Academy. But if he wants to join the squad and be one of our club trained players, because we need 4, we have 1. So we need to do something about that. That would be cool if Kyle could come and sit the bench. So
yeah, I mean, maybe there's a world where we do ending up signing him over Vanderson for that very reason, which would kind of be a bummer. But yeah, rules have to be followed at this point in time. We've seen what happens and when they're not, unless you're Man City, it don't matter. But yeah, then Eze, I mean, we've already talked about Eze a lot on this show over time, right? But that would be, I think, maybe Javi Simons, but I think Eze is it's 1A and 1B as far as the heaviest hitters on this list for me. So
yeah, I'm a fan of Eze. I'm a huge fan of Eze for sure. I think that would be a great signing for us. If I were if I were Johan Lange, I don't even know what his job title is at this point. But I would say my number 1 is Javi Simons.
I agree.
The best player because he's just done it at such a high level. In the Bundesliga, on the international stage, he's only 22 still. Eze is a little bit older. He's 26. So that's to be noted, but he's definitely a win now type of player. I'm a huge fan of Eze. I think I might prefer Simons and Kudus to Eze. However, I do think Eze is the most realistic, and I would also be super hyped for Eze. I think I would probably go Simons, then Kudus, then Eze, then Grealish. But I think the top 3, there's a big jump from the top 3 to Grealish, in my opinion.
I agree. 100% agree.
Simons and Kudus because they are younger. I think they will give the same production, and they are like 4 years younger than Ebre Eze. But Eze would be a fantastic signing nonetheless.
Yeah,
We've
sure.
got it ad nauseum on this podcast. So
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about Grealish then briefly. Grealish, everybody knows Jack Grealish. We don't need to make introductions. Rumors of him going to Everton potentially. I think this one feels like out of those big names we just listed off, this feels the least likely to happen for me.
Yeah.
I think we've been linked to him for a long time, but he wants out of City. He's definitely willing to take a pay cut. He'll have no choice but to do that if he wants to play football, right? So kind of the trap that you fall into when you go to Man City, right? But I think Grealish would be fantastic at Spurs. Like you said, he's super versatile. He's that technical footballer in and around the box that we've really been crying out for a while, I think. Maybe even more so than I think him and Eze are comparable when it comes to their technical ability, right? But Grealish should be an awesome signing.
Yeah, I think Grealish would be a great signing. He is 28.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think he's a better dribbler than Eze.
Yeah, I agree.
Eze is probably the better creator, but I mean, in assist, like we haven't seen Grealish play with like more freedom in a long time, and when he was at Villa.
Oh, he'd be hyped to come to Spurs, man, and he'd play.
Play.
Also, the thing about Jack Grealish, that dude is in the prime of his career at 28 years old, arguably, right? There's varying definitions as to what the prime is, right? But he's 28 years old. I think the next 3 years could be really, really good from him. He's also won everything. Like that dude has won everything, and that's the type of experience you want at your club if you want to win the Premier League and want to win the Champions League. So, yeah, I don't think he's coming. He would be coming to us as a Man City reject. I think that those dudes are just loaded, and Pep went in a different direction. But I don't think it's because Jack Grealish isn't good enough to play for Man City. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. Xavi Simons, I want to let you just talk about him for a little while. I'm a massive fan. I think he's one of the best young midfielders on the planet, like probably top 5 midfielders under 23 on the planet for me. He's just incredible. And what reported 60 million is what we'd have to spend if we want to bring him, or roughly that. He's at Red Bull Leipzig now, but yeah, talk to me about that one.
Yeah, so I think my thing is that like he's 4 years younger than Eze. He'll cost like maybe 10, 15 more. Like just do it. Just get Xavi Simons, because that's like one of the most serious signings we've ever made. Like I couldn't even believe if that actually happened.
Yeah.
He is 85th, but it's just like he's so well rounded. Assists 88th percentile, key passes 85th percentile, XG plus XA 86th percentile, attacking actions 76 carries. He is 91st percentile in progressive carries, 80th percentile in dribbles, and he is just one of the most well-rounded players at the age of 22 in all of Europe right now. And he's not afraid of the big stage. He's done it for Netherlands. He's done it in the Champions League for Leipzig. And he's just one of the most exciting playmakers, goal scorers. Like he will produce goals and assists at an alarming clip. And he's like a perfect number 10 to play for Tottenham. So yeah, that would be unbelievable.
Fully agree. That'd be the statement signing of the summer for sure if we were to get that done. And then, recently, as of like yesterday or the day before, we'll say the last 48 hours, we started hearing talks about Mohamed Kudus to Spurs. West Ham will not play ball easily here, without a doubt, but they also probably need to bring some funds in. They've got a real rebuild. I mean, we want to talk about a rebuild. They're in a position where they need to start making some decisions. So, Mohamed Kudus and I wish I had the number off the top of my head. I don't, but he had a handful of goals last year in the Premier League and was key to anything good that happened for West Ham. But, can play as a center attacking mid, can play on the wing, very versatile attacking player. He can also play as an 8, I think, at times if required, right? But he's a versatile player, and I think it'd be a good signing.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his. I think if he was on the right wing, that would be absolutely massive for Tottenham. The main reason for this being 95th percentile in dribbles. He had the third most dribbles in Europe last year, only behind Jeremy Doku and Lamine Yamal. So he genuinely a top 3 dribbler in Europe. And that was playing for a West Ham team that does not have a lot of the ball. So you can imagine if he was in a ball-dominant team, he'd probably be putting up Lamine Yamal stats in terms of taking on players, attacking actions, 93rd percentile, created a lot of expected goals, expected assists, again, for a team that doesn't score that much, that's doing primarily defending. His passing numbers aren't as good, which is why I kind of lean towards him being a winger for Tottenham, but his dribbling, unmatched. One of the best 2 dribblers in the Premier League. If you can get that on your team, he would be a ridiculous option off the right in that ram in the 4-2-3-1 formation. I think that would be incredible for Tottenham. So there's a lot of names on here that we like. I think it's a really promising links right now. So we'll see if Daniel Levy can back up the talk and open the checkbook and get some of these guys in Lilywhite this season.
Good job, man. Yeah, you've convinced me. I'm all in on Kudus as well. A lot of names on this list. Before we wrap, then, and I do have to wrap here shortly, but my question for you is, out of all these names, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them, who are you starting? Who are you bringing off the bench, and who are you having on the bench but not giving minutes to?
Yeah. So how many do I get to start? 1?
Yeah, you just 1 for each category.
Okay. Yeah, I'm starting Javi Simons. I'm off the bench in Buemo. And then the third, I would go Kudus. And then, yeah, that's the top 3. And then I'd say Eze as the honorable mention there. How about you?
Yeah, I'm close with you. And the way I thought about this, and the reason I asked this question is I think it's a really good way to determine like who we would actually want our 3 signings on this list to be, because I don't think we sign any more than 3 of these players, right? I just think that's unrealistic at this point in time. But I would start Javi Simons. I would bring in Buemo off the bench, and I would have Vanderson sitting on the bench but not playing.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good shout.
Yeah, and that's just like, I don't know. I was thinking realistically about like what could actually happen. So, but it tells me that we both think Javi Simons is the number 1 name on this list and would make the biggest impact to Spurs immediately. I also think Brian Mbeumo makes a massive impact off the bench for this team. And I would probably, if we sign Mbeumo, I think he probably starts. So I'm not saying that he wouldn't start, right? But just for the sake of the exercise, I think we both felt comfortable saying that name, and then differed a little bit on the third. But I think either one of those options is great. Realistically, outside of that exercise, then realistically, who are the 3 players on this list that you think we're most likely to sign?
I think Mbeumo, Vanderson, and I'd say are the 3 that we are most likely to sign.
1,000% agree with you. I think those are the 3 that I would put my money on us actually bringing.
And that would be incredible.
It'd be a great window. It'd be an awesome window, honestly. As a 10, as is also a winger. You've got James Madison, you've got Kulusevski, who can play in multiple positions. You've got Solanke, you've got Richarlison, you've got Son, in theory, who can play as a 9. I think you've got Bentancur, you've got Bergvall, you've got Sarr,
I do want to see more links at the 6, because we haven't. It's been all like wingers 10.
One great point, and maybe Thomas Frank says Archie Gray is my guy, and that was my plan at Brentford too.
Yeah, Archie Gray, Bergvall. Of that. And
yeah, exactly. Maybe he assesses the squad and says, yes, I think down the line it's a conversation that needs to continue to happen, but right now these positions are more important to me when I look at the squad that I have. So yeah, we'll see it. And I think if you play a 4-2-3-1, I think there's less pressure on that position the six, the single pivot in the Premier League is such a challenging thing to do, and the double pivot with like an Eze in front of them or a Madison in front of them. I look at Bentancur and Bergvall, or Bentancur and Sarr, or Bentancur and Gray. I think Bentancur is going to be a staple in this midfield, the way things are shaping. But I think we maybe can get through if it were to come down to having to make a tough decision there. So, but yeah, I think Emblemo as a Vanderson would be a fantastic window for this club, and we'll see what happens beyond that. But anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it?
I just have like one question. Like, when do you think the first signing is coming? If you had to guess, like a date.
When is a window open again? I know it's shut.
It's open.
It is. Okay. So honestly, I would say today's Saturday.
Yeah.
I think by like Wednesday, we've announced Brian Emblemo is kind of what my gut tells me. I think we're going to get that over the line.
Okay.
Yeah. I could be wrong, but I just kind of have a gut feeling that Emblemo is the first signing we announced. So, and mainly because of the Frank connection.
Yeah, that would be sick. Yeah.
How about you?
I just hope we have a signing, like a real signing, by July 1st.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That'd be solid. I mean, we got work to do, but
for sure.
All right. Well, for myself, for Max, we appreciate everybody's time. Also, make sure you're tuning into the Club World Cup. There's some wonderful football going on. South America is kind of rolling over Europe at the moment, which is pretty fantastic to see. Boca didn't get it quite done against Bayern yesterday, but yeah, it's really fun to see some of these teams from lesser parts of the world, right, from a footballing perspective, competing with Europe. Mamelodi Sundowns almost got it done this afternoon. That was such a great game. Me as someone who's working on his South African citizenship and has a wife from South Africa and a child who has a South African citizenship, it's very near and dear to my heart, South African football. And I'm an Orlando Pirates fan, so it can be hard for me at times.
I'm a Chiefs fan. Let's go Chiefs.
Oh, dude, that's my wife actually. So.
Oh, really? Because my best friend, my childhood best friend and neighbor's dad is from South Africa, and that's who's
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Chiefs and Pirates are like the longest serving rivalry in the country. Chiefs are kind of viewed as having a little bit more money, where Orlando is viewed as kind of developing their talent. Then Mamelodi Sundowns come in and totally just Man City's the league, and now they run the shit. So Pirates, and it's like that. It's honestly just like Pirates and Chiefs fighting, with Mamelodi Sundowns holding a trophy above them at all points in time, right? But all that to say, I'm fully behind Mamelodi Sundowns for this Club World Cup. I got to support South African football, and Ronwen Williams, their goalkeeper, is my boy. He's South Africa's keeper and captain, and actually gave away a really tough goal today against Borussia Dortmund. It was uncharacteristic of Ronwen, but he was honestly up for I can't remember the name of the award for the best goalkeeper of the year at Ballon d'Or ceremony, but Ronwen Williams was nominated in the 5 nominees for top goalkeeper in the world last year. So that was cool to see. But anyways, they didn't get it done. But let's go Mamelodi Sundowns. Obviously, I know you're fully behind Seattle. Kind of been a rough go for Seattle, but when you have PSG and Atletico Madrid in your group, I just don't know really what you can expect at that point.
And like that Botafogo game, we should have won.
Yeah, Botafogo is no joke too. They're a good team.
Yeah, and they ended up beating PSG. I'll be at the PSG Sounders game on Monday, and yeah, it's going to be interesting because now PSG has to win. So hopefully get to see like a full strength Luis Enrique PSG European champions team out there.
Man,
I will. So,
yeah, I will. If I was in Seattle, I'd be there. But I enjoy that, man. Yeah, for Max, for myself, we appreciate everybody's time. This has been episode 50, significant number for us here at Emerald Lilywhite. We appreciate everybody who's been along for the ride, and to those of you who are new, we appreciate you as well, and hope you enjoy the content. You can follow us at @Lilywhite on all social media platforms. We are the official YouTube channel of Seattle Spurs. Let me go ahead and remind you across the bottom of the screen. You can follow Seattle Spurs at Seattle Spurs on all social media platforms. You can sign up for the Gmail list. It's important to do so if you're interested in being a member of Seattle Spurs. SeattleSpurs@gmail.com. Shoot us a note. We'll put you on the mailing list. It's going to get you all kinds of information on membership, watch parties, significant there, holiday parties, Spurs content, you name it. With regards to watch parties, it's the off season, but make sure you fully understand where we are at. If you're new to Seattle Spurs, we watch at the Wits Ends in Finney Ridge. We also have 2 homes in Puyallup. The staple home at this point in time is Cascades, but there is also Rainier Growlers who helps out and is a part of the family without a doubt. I do not mean they're lesser than anyone when I say that, right? But they pick up some of the slack when Cascades is not able to open. So those are our 2 homes down on the south side in Puyallup. If you're signed up for the Gmail, you know exactly what's open for every match. So make sure you do that. And then also, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us grow Emerald and Lilywhite, but most importantly, it helps us grow Seattle Spurs, which is the goal of all of this. You can find me at Scotchy Bird. You can find Max at Going Limbs. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.